Doing dark matches, Tom Pritchard was booking extra talent, and he said they legitimately want to take a look at me. And I thought, well, this is the chance. WWF to me was never the goal. I looked up to people who went to Japan to wrestle. I thought the idea of going to Japan and being a superstar, like a Bruiser Brody or a Stan Hansen or an Eddie Guerrero, and then coming home and nobody knowing who you are, man, I thought that was the coolest idea in the world. That's what I wanted. When I wrestled in Japan, Hashimoto told me, maybe too big cruiserweight, too small heavyweight. My dreams dashed against the rocks, but Tommy called, and I said, Tommy, if they legitimately want to look at me, I said, I'm not a WWE guy. You know, I'm a skinny fat. Hunter famously called me that on TV. He wasn't wrong. I wore basketball shorts. I dedicated myself. I told Tommy, I said, give me 6 to 8 months. I'm going to bust my ass, and I'm going to get into shape. And I do everything I can so when they legitimately take a look at me, they will not be able to say no. And in the line of this, none of this being about me, I want to thank Val Venis. I had a match with him on Sunday Night Heat that got me my job. And I knew it got me my job. And people will tell me that I'm cocky, and I know sometimes I am, but I knew leaving that ring, I said, I almost had abs, JBL, believe it or not. She said something up here yesterday that really resonated with me. You gotta work out hard to look this bad. The same is true for me. So I'm offered a job, and I'm blown away. And I pack up everything I own. In my 2001 Monte Carlo, which is the first thing I ever bought with my own money. I'm gonna jump back in time really quick here. The 2001 Monte Carlo, I don't know if anybody's ever heard this story about Harley Race and my 2001 Monte Carlo. The first time I ever heard Harley Race, he was a special guest referee for a match I had in Wisconsin. And Harley comes up to me before the match and he goes, hey kid, don't do any of that 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 bullshit. I don't get up and down as fast as I used to. And I don't think Harley wanted to count like Bronco Lewis just yet. I think he had too much pride. And I was terrified of Harley Race. This is the toughest man professional wrestling has ever seen. Sorry, Haku.
Yes!
Every time I would get taken over in a headline takeover, Harley would come over and he'd go, what do you say? And he would stick his index and his middle finger straight up both my nostrils. and I was just a young 20-something punk kid looking at the lights going, why is Harley Race doing this to me? And if you've ever met Harley had legit hands of steel, and his fingers were like sausages. So to actually jam his fingers in, it hurt quite a lot. Not as tough as Harley Race. Harley Race liked me for some reason, and I didn't get it. Tracy Smothers liked me for some reason, and I didn't know why. I never fit in anywhere before. Eddie Guerrero loved me, and I never knew why. Later that night at the bar, Harley Race is accepting shots from every single fan. He's getting loaded, but if you know anything about Harley Race, you know this guy can get loaded. His loaded is a different planet than anybody else's loaded, right? But Harley was a little bit older. He wasn't the legendary Harley from the 70s. Sure, he could probably drink harder. I think he might have got to him a little bit. Ace comes up to me and he goes, hey, can you stick around? We'll just take Harley back to the hotel later. I said, yeah, sure, no problem. So it's later that night. Harley comes out of the bar, we're walking in the car, and I'm watching Harley. It sounds very disrespectful to say he was waddling. But it had a lot more to do with the state of inebriation than it did with his body type or anything else. Harley waddles out of the bar, and he stops, and he gives me one of these. This is my brand new 2001 Monte Carlo. It's the first thing I ever bought with my own money. He sits shotgun, he sits in the back seat. We're driving to the hotel, and I'm looking at Harley, and all of a sudden he goes, and I'm driving my car, and I'm just like, there's no way. This is the hardest man in professional wrestling history. This man can hold his alcohol. Rolls the window down, turns, and a noise I will never forget as long as I live. He says, and spits a mouthful of vomit out the window. And I'm driving, I'm going at a good pace. It immediately blows back all over a steel. And I look over the rearview mirror, and I'm just like, holy shit. And I look at Harley, and he does it again. And he slowly, I don't think Harley had a quick moan in his body. Everything was slow. He just slowly turned to the window, and he went, like a balloon deflated. So I start to pull over. He does it again. But this time, since I'm pulling over, he turns to me. Swallows. And grabs my forearm and says, "Don't pull over. You'll alert the authorities." This continues the entire way to his hotel room. We get to the hotel room. We walk in there. I'm thinking, man, I gotta tuck this motherfucker into bed. You know what I mean? Like, but we get to the elevator. He turns to me. He's covered in puke, and he says, "Well, my friend, I hope you have it in your heart to forgive me for throwing up in your car." And I said, "Yeah, man, you're Harley Race." And then he proceeded to give me the big hug. The point of all that is, I literally, it's in the name. I was just a punk rock kid from Chicago. I didn't fit in anywhere. I wasn't supposed to fit in any locker room. Gosh, I remember the first time I was in WWE, and I felt like I fit in. The names on that roster that were regular house show loot guys: JBL, Batista, Shawn Michaels was still on the road. I know because I had to tag with him and take all the bumps. That was my job. And I did it gleefully. Ric Flair was still on the road. Triple H, The Undertaker, Edge, Jeff Hardy, Umaga. I'm forgetting people. That's the shitty thing about being up here and not writing anything down. Somebody's going to text me. I hope I forget somebody who's dead so they don't text me. At this point in my life, I'd rather be haunted than text. I know this is long, guys, but I'm having fun. I hope you are too. I got a job with WWE, and man, it's because I wouldn't be denied. And then when I got there, I feel like I worked so hard that my heroes, the people I looked up to, became my peers and my rivals. Mickey?
Let him know!
I'm driving my Monte Carlo, which is probably still stained with Harley's puke, from Philadelphia. I wrestled an hour in the Philadelphia Armory. Everything I own is in my car. I drive it straight to Chicago. I got a job. I'm finishing up my dates with Ring of Honor. And I'm just a kid. I'm high. I'm 25, 26. I'm high on life. It's amazing. The sun's coming up. I'm driving on I-90. I'm in Indiana. I see the sign that says "Welcome to Chicago," and my phone rings. And I look, and I know it's a 203 number, so I know it's somebody from WWE. So I answer it, and it's Howard Finkel. And Coco, it warms my heart to know that I got the same phone call you did. Yours just was a couple decades earlier. Howard Finkel's on the phone, he goes, "Hello, CM Punk." I can't do a Howard Finkel impression, I'm not going to do one. He tells me that I'm booked for Monday Night Raw. Now, I wrestled Saturday night, and I'm like, oh shit, it is like 9 in the morning, Sunday morning. What do I got to do? He says, we're in Cleveland. And I was like, Howard, I just drove all night. Like, if you would have called me 5 hours ago, I would have been in Cleveland. I just would have pulled over. You know, he said, don't worry about it, we'll fly in Monday morning. Great. So I get home, I rest. Monday morning, my first day on the job, I show up to the rental car desk in Cleveland, Ohio, and there's Mickey James. And I go, Mickey, what are you doing here? And she's like, they're calling me up, and I heard, is it me and you? Are we doing something? And I went, I don't know. So we rode together to the building, and we get there, and somebody comes up to us, and they says, you guys are on Sunday Night Heat. Now, for the kids in the audience, that used to be a little show. No, I'm just kidding. So me and Mickey get told that we're together, but we're running around. Do you remember Alex, SmackDown writer? Okay, Alex Greenfield. He couldn't tell me shit. He was like, you guys are together. And I went, me and Mickey got together. We're like, great, are we brother and sister? Are we married? Are we together? Are we like Mickey and Mallory from Natural Born Killed? And I just started like, spitballing. And as we're talking, Michael Hayes walks by and goes, CM Punk, I don't get it. First day on the job, and I look at Mickey, and Mickey's been busting her ass in Ohio Valley Wrestling. And I looked at Mickey, and I was just like, oh man, pressure's on. I can't fumble this fucking ball because it's her career. Hunter comes up to the both of us and says, you just thankfully reminded me. And he looks at Mickey and he goes, you, I get it. And he looks at me and he goes, you, I get it. He goes, together? Because I don't fucking get it. He walks away. So to set the table, Mickey's debuting. I'm supposed to be a babyface. I have purple hair.
Yeah.
And we're in Cleveland, and they're going to announce me from Chicago. And I'm just, I got like shitty tattoos, and I'm with the hot girl with the big boobs. And I just remember pulling Mickey aside and going, this isn't going to work. They're going to boo the shit out of me. And you're going to take the straight for this one. We came up with an elaborate entrance, and I think we even might have kissed, and that was the kissing time. The instant I kissed you in front of Cleveland, they might have started throwing fucking garbage at me. I proceeded to have an okay match, but it wasn't up to snuff, and I remember getting it back, and Arn and Hunter and Sean were just kind of standing in the corner, and it felt like high school because they were all just like kind of pointing. I knew they were talking about me, and I was just like, I guess I shit the bed. And then I got sent to Ohio Valley Wrestling, and I figured 6 months tops. You never would have got to meet me, JBL. How sad. But the best thing about being in OVW is I got to work with Danny Davis. And I don't know, as a return in my career, I don't know why Danny liked me. All these old school guys, all these tough guys, I don't know why they put up with me, and I don't know why they liked me. Paul Heyman would allow me to come to the Davis Arena on Tuesday night and help write the television show. Because my thing was, I'm never getting called up. That was my one chance. Back then, with all those names on the roster that I listed, it was just a Shark Tank. You weren't going to get a shot. And I figured that was my one shot. But as long as I was going to be in that house, I was going to learn as much as I could from Danny Davis and Paul Heyman. And Paul spent his time and taught me how to write a television show. He taught me how to time a television show. He taught me half a second out, half a second in for commercial. Danny Davis and Paul let me sit in in a control room with them and learn how to edit a television show Wednesday night. This is when I started drinking coffee. I developed insomnia. That is not a joke, that is real life. I figured I had 6 months. I was going to learn as much as I possibly could. When I was back on the Indies, I was going to apply that. I slipped